Happy New Year. Happy 2021. This has been an absolutely insane year. So I think everybody is glad to be in a new one and put an end to 2020, put an end to all of the craziness that was that year and start fresh. And that's a feeling that we have every new year, and I think that it is especially apparent this year. So I wanted to talk to you guys about goal setting. So I want to preface this by saying that I think that there are two ways that you can live your life, and you can be a goal-driven person or a value-driven person. And I think that if you put your entire self-worth and being and mental health towards these goals, these concrete goals, I think that you'll always be wanting for more. Because once you reach a goal, you'll want to reach the next one, and so on and so on and so on. And I think that especially in my sphere and my being in academia and pursuing higher education, I think that this was something that I had to come to terms with and sort of combine having goals but not being defined by those goals and being more of a value-driven person. So with that in mind, I'm going to tell you how I have set out my goals for this year as well as previous years. I actually have an old blog post on goal setting that is pretty similar to this, so I will link that down below if you want to check that out as well. So as you all know, I use my bullet journal for many things, and setting my goals is definitely not an exception to that. So first, what I do is I kind of have a brainstorm with myself about these values that I want to exemplify in different areas of my life. So, people talk a lot about SMART goals and making sure that your goals are well defined and measurable and things like that. But I start with these big, lofty, value type goals. So I break things down into a few sections, and these sections you can define yourself and change them for yourself. But mine are personal, health, social, home and finance, school, and dream big, or future. So within those categories, I kind of, sit down and have some aha moments with myself of what do I really want to be remembered for? What do I really want other people to say about me? Not that you should care so much what people think, but sort of, what are you putting out into the world? And so that's especially important in the personal section. I think that everybody should have a personal section. And so I just kind of write down, I have all of these sections in little cutouts in different categories. And so what I did is I just wrote little one word, couple word things. I want to be driven. I want to be fierce in the fight for my beliefs. I want to be caring. I want to make others feel like they're the only one in the room. These are the kinds of things that I set as my big, lofty personal goals. And so I do that with the others as well. So the health and finance and home goals, those might be a little bit more concrete because just the nature of that is. But one of the things I have in my health, because health doesn't just include physical health, it includes mental and emotional health as well, is I have gratitude and, daily skincare and stretching and journaling and things like that. But I don't measure them, I don't define them, I don't make them into SMART goals, not yet. So I go through and I do that for everything. The social one, I think, is going to be especially important as we are hopefully coming out of this era of isolation and working from home and just pandemic life. Hopefully, as we are hopefully coming out of that slowly but surely, this integration back into our social circles is going to be so important. So, you know, I have some things like stay in touch with those most important, listen and empower others, listen more than you speak, and things like that. So go down the list. I do that, make these big lofty goals, and then I break them into quarterly goals. So I'm in the process of doing this, so it's still empty, but this page here is my quarterly goals. So they're just temporarily taped in here for now, but they will eventually be glued down and a little bit more permanent. However, we should always be flexible as things change. So the first quarter one is going to be the most filled out because for me personally, I need to be flexible with myself. I need to allow for some change to happen throughout the rest of those quarters. So I might fill out the first one the most, and then it'll kind of dwindle down as the quarters of the year go through. And so these I will break into more SMART goal type things. So if you are unfamiliar with the like SMART goal acronym, basically it's just like, how do you have like a good, attainable, measurable, achievable goal? And so I will, you know, make very concrete things for myself. So I will say, you know, cardio 3 times a week. And then what I also like to do is give myself either some type of carrot or stick for each of those types of concrete goals, especially those ones that take a lot of like discipline and motivation, like working out and eating healthy and schoolwork, studying for MCAT, things like that. Those things that like require a little bit more motivation, I will either assign, like I said, a carrot or a stick to it. So what I mean by that is a carrot is like a reward. So if I, you know, go and for the entire month, sticking to my 3 times a week workout routine, then you know, maybe I'll reward myself with, you know, going and getting my nails done or something like that. Or if I, you know, don't study for my MCAT at all for an entire week, then I have to delete my social media apps for the following week and like stay off of social media, and that's like a stick, like a punishment. So these can go either way, and kind of, you know yourself best, I think, with this, but you have to be realistic with it and you have to actually follow through with it. So you have to like be disciplined with your discipline, I think, and setting those out ahead of time helps me do that. So after I've made quarterly goals, I will then each month separate those into monthly goals. So let's say, for example, your quarterly goal is, you know, you want to be able to run a marathon with your friends next year or something like that. It's not really a quarterly goal, but for argument's sake, for example, let's just say that's what it is. So you break it down in your months and you'd say, you know, this month, my goal is to run X amount of distance, you know, 5 out of 7 days a week or something. I don't really know how you train for things like that, but just as an example, that's what you would do. So let's say that you set that monthly goal, and then that's where your daily habit trackers come into effect. So for instance, this is kind of an old one that didn't end up getting filled out a lot, but this was what one of my habit trackers looked like at the end of last year. So I have up here, you know, skincare, and then I'd mark off if I did that every day. And so you can break your goals down into attainable, tiny chunks, day by day, as cliche as that is, step at a time type of thing. And that is how I approach my goals for so, you know, for me, my academic goals for my first quarter is going to be, you know, MCAT studying. And so I'll set some, you know, measurable like score that I'd like to obtain by the time that I take my MCAT. And so then for my monthly things, it'll be, you know, to, you know, study for MCAT like 3 hours every day or something like that. I haven't exactly figured it out yet. Don't quote me on it. If you guys want to hear more about my MCAT process, definitely let me know down below and make sure to like this video. But let's just say, for example, that's what it is, 3 hours a day studying for MCAT. And then on my daily habit tracker, I would check off whether I did that each day or not. And once you get a really long streak, like the psychology, you don't want to break that streak. At least most people don't. So I think that that can be very helpful. And the other thing that I will recommend just sort of at the end is that a lot of how I frame some of my big lofty goals and things are based off of some of the things from this book. So if you have the time and want to check it out, you can do that. But if not, I kind of summarize a little bit of it in that blog post I was talking about, so you can just check it out there. And with that, I wish you all happy goal setting and amazing 2021s. And I hope that you all had great New Year's and great holidays. And I will see you all next week.